We are back from Tennessee, but not without carnage. See that? Yeah, that is a lower control arm bolt that we broke on the track. And man, that was a nasty little break, wasn't it? Check that out. So today we're going to talk about some of the things you need to look over on your car to make sure this doesn't happen. Because if you've got aftermarket upper and lower control arms, that means the car's been worked on. That means things have been changed out. Maybe you did it, maybe somebody else did it, the previous owner or shop. You still need to check behind them. Also, we're going to be talking about upgrading the bolts and some things you can do to reinforce your torque boxes. Please, guys, make sure if you're out there drag racing these cars, especially with aftermarket spherical style upper and lower control arms, make sure that you have upper and lower torque box reinforcements. It's very important. I'm going to show you why in just a second. So it was the passenger side that did it. And as you can see, this car does have the BMR torque box reinforcements up top. They really need to be welded, but this is better than nothing. Also, if you notice right here, there's a big plate that the bolt goes through. But on the other side, check that out. See, try not to blind you guys. Look at the damn damage there. So this is what happens whenever your lower control arm bolt breaks or either starts to waller out the hole. I know we joke around a lot on the channel and we kind of take shortcuts on some things. This is not something you want to take a shortcut on, because if that bolt breaks and that lower control arm flops down, for one thing, you can flip the car, because if that comes down, it's going to come down like this. And if it does, you could flip the car. You're going to rip your rear end out of the car. It's going to screw up the back of it at bare minimum. I mean, you could hit the guardrail. There's just so many things that could go wrong with this. So what we're going to do today is just reinforce this a little better. Now, although it does have lower torque box reinforcements and uppers, we're going to reinforce the holes where the bolt goes through. Now, on one side, it is reinforced. Remember, there's a plate there for the BMR kit. We're going to go through that, go to the other side, and weld a nice washer on that side to really get that hole back like it needs to be. And that's perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, I was talking with a good friend of mine. Edgar has a really fast Foxbody, and his are done the same way, and he's never had any trouble. And he goes way faster than I'll ever go. His have been like that for years. So I'm just gonna show you a quick way to fix these holes. First things first though, we need to go ahead and get the shock loose. Here's why. We need to get this spring out. If you take any one of these bolts out of this control arm, it could be deadly. And I'm not joking, y'all. Now you gotta be careful when you're on a lift. See, this car is wanting to tilt forward. So what I'm gonna do is take one of my stands and put it under the front of the car. All right. Now what we can do is lower this rear end. There we go. See, this spring will come out now. Okay. Now there's really no weight on this, but what we wanna do is come back in, level this rear end back out some. All right, kind of like that. So now we're all braced up. We should be able to take this lower control arm bolt out without any issues. Tap this bolt through. I'm gonna try to go in there, just like that. So in doing this, see how the hole is here? And see how the control arm's back here? That's because we were pulling the rear end forward. That's what the car needed. And with the other one done the same way like that, it's got the rear end pulled back some. So it's gonna, see, look at that. Look how they fall. And that's just with no spring pressure. Here is our oblong hole that we have to fix and weld up. This is what I'm gonna work on. So I'll get started cleaning this up. Everything else up here looks fine. No issues there. So I'll get back to you guys in just a minute. So what we're trying to do is pull this metal back out right here. I got a big washer on the back side. I'm gonna pull it out. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna work on this until I can get this back pretty flat, and then we'll tap this back in here as best as we can. What we're gonna do now is ratchet strap the rear end and pull it forward, because we need this lower control arm to line up with this hole here. And as you can see, it's not really lined up right, so a little better here. There we go, just like that. Now everything's in line. Yeah, that'll work. I don't want any pressure on it. So now what we gotta do is lay a washer in there and weld this thing up. So we'll run a nut down on it to make sure it's good and secure, and then we'll weld that washer in. It looks pretty good. It looks like it sits in there nice and even. Now we're just going to give this thing a good tightening, and hopefully everything will start to pull back where it needs to be. As you can see, we've got a washer in there. That's a grade 8 washer, and we're going to go ahead and try to get this thing welded up. Damn, that looks like shit. I like it. I think that'll work. Absolutely. So now while all that's nice and hot, I want to go ahead and try to tighten this nut down a little bit more, because I think it'll pull the metal in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everything's just a moving. I've got to try to weld these torque boxes up where they are right here, because I don't know if you guys can see it, but they started to pull away and move. So there's not much I can do here to this, and this doesn't matter as much as you might think. What really matters is up top, that it's bolted and welded to the car correctly. So down here, I'm gonna beat and bang and do a little bit of welding. So that's it, y'all. I mean, it's not pretty. Check that out. Is that not one of the coolest shirts you've ever seen? Man, I love that. One of our subscribers gave me that shirt. Brother, I appreciate it. It's a little too big for me, it's a 2X, but that's inspiration for me. I love those colors, I love the design on that thing. Well, we are officially done, and I feel really good about this. Let me show you what we got. Now, my welds aren't the prettiest, but I think it's gonna work. So the torque boxes are now welded up. I know it looks like shit, but they're gonna work, they're gonna hold. And what this does is weld the torque boxes up to the floor of the car, down to the frame of the car, and locks everything in. Also, we've got our new bigger bolts in here. So these are M12 bolts, I think. They really need to be 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch is just a hair bigger than M12, but I do think the M12s will be just fine for our power level and what we're trying to do. Now this side worked out a little bit better here. I welded it all up as best I could, at least. So I feel good about it. There again, new bolts in the rear. This damn bolt was loose in the back. You got to check over your cars, and we even thought we checked over it, but we didn't. Look at that notch. It was already starting to cut in this thing. Look at that. If that would have broken, it'd have been game over, y'all. Something else I want to remind you guys of is to check and make sure your rear end is centered. Front to rear, you want to make sure it's centered this way in between the wheel wells. This is going to be controlled by your lower control arms here, back and forth. And then the in and out is going to be controlled by your upper control arms. Contrary to popular belief, it seems, which is weird to me, but your upper control arms move the rear end side to side. Now they also roll the rear end, I get that, that's their main purpose. But you can tweak your rear end side to side with your upper control arms. So how you do that and move it side to side is you lengthen one, like say this side, and you shorten this side. And what that does is it keeps the geometry of the rear end the same and literally just slides it over some, right? I took my measurement from here to make sure that the control arm was the correct length. And then I measured from here back to here, which isn't the best, but the rear end is nice and square. As you can see, the same gap, front and rear, and side to side is pretty close. These things do tend to move around a little bit more than you might think. So you may have it set exactly how you want to, and then the car moves around a little bit and it tweaks, and now all of a sudden it's a couple of millimeters, 3 millimeters off, something like that. That's the nature of the beast with these cars. You're going to have to go back under there, check it again, maybe go one flat, something like that, and you should be okay. Anyway, guys, please be safe out there. Look over your cars. This could have been disastrous right here, especially out there in the road playing around, especially if you hit the bottle, right? This thing hits a 250 shot and we're out there at the, top of 4th gear. This could have been bad. Anyway, y'all be safe. I'll catch you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. All right, let's go for a quick test drive. We're about out of fuel. This rear end is going to be a lot more stable now. About out of fuel. I'm telling you, I can sense it. Oh well, let's just see how the rear end does. Yeah, seems a little more stable. Should be. It's all bolted down correctly now. Sitting lower. Other than that, she's good to go. This one's for you, Neo. We got a new mascot for the channel. Neo always gives me a hard time. We seem to find squirrels around here. I don't know what the deal is. We got a lot of trees, and this time of year, these little things are falling out of the trees, and the cats are killing all of them. I found this one behind the shop and saved it from the cats. And we're gonna raise it for a little while, then we'll let it go. This will be the second or third, I think the third one that we've had that's lived that we're gonna try to release back to the wild. But for right now though, we're just gonna hang out. They're pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have ever had a squirrel for a pet, but they're easier to tame than a feral kitten. I can promise you that. They just love to be around you. They just wanna crawl on you. And occasionally you'll get a little bit of poop, but it's not too bad.